He has spoken on the topics faith, family, and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK, and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer, and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television, as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
You know, I love to watch the episodes of a show called SWAT. And every time they would roll up on the scene, their leader would look at them and they've already had the brief about what's going to happen. And this is a knockless warrant and we're going in, we're going to rip the doors off, whatever we need to do. The big gunship is going to go through the house. And all of the plans have already been laid out. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Everybody knows their job. Everybody knows their assignment. And just as they pull up on the scene, the commander looks at all of them and he goes, "Stay liquid." What? Stay liquid? But I'm a solid. And that's a challenge because not all leaders are prepared for that. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Stay tuned.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. If you have been a leader in a marketplace, in a large company or a small company, maybe it's landscaping, lawn mowing company, maybe it's pharmaceuticals, maybe you sell pharmaceuticals, maybe you create them, maybe you, design and invent them. There's illustrations in literally every vertical market. Literally every vertical market, where a change may have happened at a political, administrative, way up there kind of a level, or it may have happened kind of like overnight. You just woke up one day and everything was different, like, a pandemic kind of thing, where the whole world, like, in a day, we went from, there's some sick people, to, wait, the NBA is canceled. What? How does that happen? When does that happen? When has it ever happened before in history? 100 plus years ago? And yet, what happened in leadership began to see some strange erosions. Now, today it may be that in California, as an example, you're no longer allowed to use a gas-powered lawnmower. Now, how many people do you think were ready for that who own landscaping businesses? Hollywood, Beverly Hills. These are places where yards may be 2, 3, 5, 10 acres. And the height of the grass has to be exactly right. And the color of the green exactly right. And the edging has to be exactly half an inch from the edge of the concrete. And in some of those places, that's a city ordinance. And they will come by with a ruler and measure the height of your grass and how far the grass is from the edge of the concrete. And then if it's been edged right, and the trimming of your trees, and all of the tools to do that. Those are not cheap. I don't know if you know this little lake town that I live in, first time I've ever seen it, but at the Aaron Rents furniture store, where you would rent a TV if you're going to be, staying at a bed and breakfast for a week and you want a big screen TV for the big game, you can go rent a TV for a week or a month or whatever and then take it back. It's no big deal. At this particular store, you can rent a riding lawnmower. Yeah, the big industrial, zero-turn mowers. It's got handles like a track, like a tank. You can rent that thing, or you can buy it straight out for $6,000. See, most people who are in the landscaping business, even if they're very successful in it, if they've got 2 or 3 of these riding lawnmowers, and they've got 2 or 3 push mowers, and they've got 10 or 12 weed eaters and tree trimmers and you got $40,000, $50,000 invested in gas-powered equipment. And when the state says, we'll stop doing gas-powered, We don't like it. Too noisy. It smells. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that. CO2 levels, global warming, lawnmower. I don't know. Which is worse, the push mower or the cow farts? It's close, right? But we should make policy about that. Let's vote on it. No, let's not vote on it. We'll just write it down and say it changes. And so all of a sudden that change, and everybody out there with millions of dollars invested in gas-powered lawnmowers, they're obsolete. Paperweights. Can't do anything with them. Nobody's going to buy them from you. I mean, they can't have them either. Not like you can take them to the pawn shop. They're just trash. Instantly. But see, our political leaders get to do that. We give them the right to do that by voting them into office. But what about when that leader's closer to you? What if you just woke up today and the guy who owns the company you work for said, you know, I know that you had plans to take a vacation on this date, but no. Well, we've already bought our airline tickets. No. We've already paid for the hotel. No. Oh, we're already planning to go to the beach and to Disneyland and blah. No. I decided last night when I was putting on my new socks, no. I don't know if you've ever worked for a leader like that. I have. I've worked for leaders that on the way to where you're supposed to be going, they change their mind and say, nah, we're not going there. Now, as a firefighter, I kind of expected that. You know, we've responded to grass fires where when we're told to leave the station, go to XYZ intersection. And when you get to that intersection, the fire's already jumped over that road. It's gone past that fence. It's in the next field. And it's driven by the wind. And I don't know if you know anything about wind, but it's a little unpredictable and it doesn't check in with anybody. Wind doesn't ask you, can I change directions? I think I'll take a west and maybe I'll go south for a while. Maybe I'll do both. Welcome to Oklahoma, where it does both. It happens. As a firefighter, I kind of expect that. I kind of anticipate that. If I was part of the SWAT team and my commander said, stay fluid, what does that mean? Well, we have a plan of execution, but Mike Tyson probably said it best. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Everybody has a plan or a strategy. You know what you're going to do until, bam, you meet reality. And the plan you had doesn't work anymore. That's a different thing. But see, when you work in the type of business, vertical market, industry, law enforcement, military, firefighting, where literally things change by the second. Our plan was to go in and to arrest these 3 people. We thought they'd put their hands up and come out peacefully. They didn't. Turns out there wasn't 3 peaceful people to walk out. There were 22 and they were armed and ready to shoot back. Plans changed. All of our plans changed. Everything about our strategy, our indoctrination, our training now has to come into play because we didn't know exactly what we were going to do today, but we know what to do when. Do you follow that? See, law enforcement, firefighters, Secret Service, military members, the training is based on principles, on core values, on a whole stack of what ifs. If this, then that. If that, then this. And it's a built-in part. Understanding that things are going to change. Not so much with an administrative job, right? Most typical sales jobs, they may come in on Monday and go, okay, so this month we're going to focus on that kind of product. We're going to sell as many of those as we can. In fact, we'll incentivize those. I've been there, done that. I've been part of both the marketing plan that says we're going to roll out this new feature, this new benefit, this new advantage. We're going to roll that out and we'll incentivize sales reps till the end of the month. And as many as they can sell in the month, we'll pay them that. I've even seen companies do that when paying out that incentive breaks the profit margin. Meaning, if we sell 20 of those and we pay $100 on all 20 of them, our gross revenue is $1,500. Our gross payout will be $2,000. It will cost us money to pay our sales reps to sell the thing. I don't know why we would do that, but I've worked in companies that did. And I've been on both sides of that, on the marketing side and on the sales side. I've been on the sales side where I made a whole lot of money selling something that made no sense at all, and it made the company no profit. But they really needed to launch that product. So I took their money and I sold the product, and the customers benefited from it because they were selling it at a very cheap price. Bad on them. But what if every Monday when you showed up to work, every Tuesday, every Wednesday coming back from lunch, you walked in the door and your boss went, "Hey, I know you thought we were going to do this the rest of the day, but I think instead we'll do that. You thought you'd be making salads the rest of the day. Turns out we're going to do plumbing. What do you think?" I think no. But see, I've also been parts of teams that they wake up in the morning. In fact, I got one of these not too long ago. I got the text at 6:40 a.m. that says, "Call time, 8 o'clock." And I'm thinking to myself, if I were already in the driver's seat, I couldn't be at that location by 8 o'clock. The fact that I just got out of bed because I thought the call time was 10 o'clock, because that's what you told me at 9 o'clock when I went to bed, that's a huge factor. When you told me 10 o'clock, I thought I'll get up at 6:30, I'll get a shower, I'll be on the road, I'll be early, we'll all be good. Now you're telling me back it up by 2 hours and still be ready. No, I can't do that. I've also been on the road with directions, specific directions, go to this place. Okay, that's a 3-hour drive. I'll be there in 3 hours. Maybe 3 hours and 20 minutes with a fuel stop or a potty stop. And 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes into that drive, I get, "Where are you?" Still driving? What's taking you so long? I don't know, laws of physics? Okay, well, I've changed my mind. We're not going there. Go here instead. And I look at my map and I'm like, well, I could have been there an hour ago if I'd gone there from where I was. But now I've already passed it and I have to turn around and drive back an hour and a half. So I'm either going to be at the first place you told me to be or the new place you told me to be at the time you want me to be there. And see, leaders like this, they like to claim this beautiful, powerful, advanced leadership technique word. It's called market agility. You got to move on a dime. You've got to move with the pace of the market. When the market changes, you got to go with the market. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you're not a trader on Wall Street. We're not trying to make a deal in the next 90 seconds that's worth $5 million. We're talking about $1,000 day on a good day. We're talking about if we get there and get everything ready in time, perhaps, yes. Maybe a $2,000 day. Woohoo! What we're really talking about is changing your mind like you change more often than you change your socks. And there's so many leaders who they feel like I've got to be agile. I've got to put my finger to the wind and figure out what the current movement is. Where are things going politically today? Oh, what about tomorrow? What can I predict them to be 5 weeks from now? And really the only thing more challenging than that for a team is the leader who makes all of these decisions in a vacuum, in isolation. And they have all these great ideas and all these plans, and they work them out and they build all the schematics, and well, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then we'll go here and we'll do this and we'll work with these people and we'll work it like this and it'll be like this. And the reality is all of that's been decided inside the head of the leader alone. No collaboration with the team to say, well, what has your experience been? They don't matter. Who cares what they've learned? Nobody really worries about what they know. They do what they're told. They're just here to follow instructions, my instructions. And so I'm going to come up with a plan and I'm going to strategize and I'm going to theorize and they'll implement. And when it comes down to those things that rearrange somebody's life, send them off in another course, delay something they've been planning on for a long time because you whimsically changed something. I've actually defined some of the leaders I've worked for in the past as trying to work for a 12-year-old female. I know what that's like. I raised 3 of them, 2 of our own biologically and a couple of extras. And a 12-year-old female will change her mind 5 or 6 times between the bathroom and the front door on her way to school. Tell me I'm lying. Wrong color shirt, wrong socks. Oh my gosh, so-and-so just FaceTimed me. She's wearing exactly the same shirt. I can't wear the same shirt to church that she's wearing. I have to change everything because I can't just change my shirt. My hairstyle and my makeup and my pants, they all go with the shirt. And now if she's wearing that, I have to change everything. Great. What she put on is changing what time I get to work. Why is this the case? Well, because they're fickle, they're whimsical, they change their mind on a dime. Leaders who do that create massive problems for their team. The first of which is what I call whiplash. And that is, you're going one direction and then whoosh, all of a sudden you're going the other direction and you get this whiplash. And the whiplash isn't necessarily the biomechanical medical thing that your chiropractor would solve. It's a different kind of whiplash. Dr. Caroline Leaf says, what we often call multitasking is technically a myth. The idea that you can be doing one thing and thinking about another thing, it doesn't really work well. Then she gives an extreme example. I think this was in her book, Switch on Your Brain. And she said, I want you to think for a moment about that phone call that stresses you out. Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's the IRS, maybe it's the court, whatever. Whoever it is that when you pick up the phone, all of a sudden, all of the chemicals in your gut just start to go awry. And I don't want to have this conversation. I mean, if caller ID pops up and you see that name and you're like, oh, you get weak in the knees, you want to hide under the desk and pretend the phone's not ringing. If that's the case, then that particular emotional state demands of your body certain things. Usually adrenaline, usually a little cortisol. Your dopamine levels and your serotonin levels, they crash. And all of a sudden your happy is gone. Your mood regulation, it's gone. Your stress level, it's up. Your anxiety, it's up. Your blood pressure, probably up. Your heart rate, definitely up. Your focus, down. Now imagine if that call, that text, that email, that notification, that emotional reaction to that came while you're in the middle of a date. Came while you're sitting in line to get your favorite drink or your favorite treat. You're sitting at the drive-thru. You're all happy. The music's playing. The sunroof is open. Yay! And then bing! And you're like, ugh! Bleh, ugh. You feel like a character dying in a cartoon because inside it, you're just, everything in your world begins to unravel for that moment. Now, when Caroline Leaf talks about this, she calls it the multitasking milkshake. And what she means by that is that upheaval of all of the chemicals in your body, the serotonin and the dopamine, the cortisol and the adrenaline, all of the hormones that begin to mix up because you've got one emotional state radically conflicting with another emotional state. And it seems like that'd be fairly avoidable, right? Or somewhat within your control. I mean, you get to choose how you feel, don't you? But these trigger moments that are sometimes caused by bosses, by leaders who they really couldn't care about anybody else. Their job is to do what I tell them to do. So whatever I tell them to do, whenever I decide to do it, that's what we'll do. And they don't think about this biochemistry milkshake they're creating in the people they work for. Not concerned with it. It farthest thing from their mind. All I know is a market opportunity changed, and I need everybody to react on a dime. Never mind that, I don't know, you don't have enough fuel to get to the destination I told you to go to. Never mind that you don't have the actual product that's going to sell best at that location. Never mind that. I mean, in fact, why don't you, okay, so we're not going to make it today. Why don't you turn around and go back the 2.5 hours you already drove, go to the storage and reload different merchandise so you can then go to the new place that's only an hour away, and you can do that tomorrow. Okay, so what is today? 0 sales, a whole lot of driving, a whole lot of stress, and a couple $100 of burned up fuel. I don't know. How well did we think that one through? Is there any chance we could have known about the other opportunity sooner? But see, when a leader decides they'll do what I tell them to, they'll change on a dime whatever I tell them to do, we're no longer going to be mowing with gas mowers. We're switching everything to electric. Okay, what about the 9 guys on your team whose primary job it is to keep those mowers running? Do you have another job for them? Or do they all get laid off? I mean, I understand you're complying with the law, but is there not a grandfather clause? Is there not some other way that, or you just wake up one day and go, okay, I'm going to go to the bank, get a loan, I'm going to buy $500,000 worth of electric lawnmowers, et cetera, and I'm going to ditch all these gas mowers, and I don't need you 9 guys anymore. Good luck. Thanks. The agility of the leader can be the whiplash of the team. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're moving on a dime, you're adapting to the market, you're keeping up with policies, you're keeping up with current trends. But can you imagine if you were in politics with just the changes that the US political cycle has had in the last 30 days? An attempted assassination, a major candidate stepping down from the race, a new candidate stepping into the race. I mean, the media has done tailspins, just changing their lingo, their chirons on the bottom of the page, their lower thirds, their who do I get as a guest? How do I support this one? How do I destroy that one? That whole process has been like a tornado emotionally, financially, for a whole lot of people in the last 30 days. It hasn't even been 30 days yet. It's been 15. The 13th, I believe, was the attempted assassination. That's a lot of upheaval for a lot of people, a lot of careers. I mean, think about it like this. Just another bold illustration. You know how many hours it takes to print 10,000 t-shirts? Even if you've got a big machine of an operation like a Nike or somebody like that, 10,000 t-shirts that's a lot of work. Imagine if it was 100,000 or 1,000,000. Now think about that big game they play every February between the two. You know, they're fighting over the pigskin. They got plastic things on their head. They run into each other. You know the game I'm talking about. It's not the Olympics. It's the other big game. Not the basketball. The other big game. But every February they fight over that little pigskin and they try to run the score up, right? That game. Did you know that before that game, they print usually close to 1,000,000 shirts saying champion? And what if you were the guy, gal, company who printed 1,000,000 shirts and went champion, and it's actually this team and not this team? What do you do with all those shirts? Well, you got millions of dollars invested in that. I mean, even if they're only $2 a piece, you make 1,000,000 of them. That's $2 million invested in them. Even if you sell them for $50, you still got $2 million worth of wasted product. What do you do with that? Well, you can't wait until the ref blows the final whistle and goes, that's the game, folks. That's your winning team. It doesn't work like that. You have to be ready in advance of that. Well, at least you've planned for that. You've probably marketed that. You've probably budgeted that to say, hey, retail stores, we got 1,000,000 of these and 1,000,000 of these. So when you're ready, place your order. We'll zip them to you as fast as we can. There are probably some retail outlets or places at the game where they're stacked up in the boxes in the back, and there's 10,000 of them over here and 10,000 over there, and it's whichever team wins, we roll those boxes out, the other ones we leave in the back. It's a strategy, right? You're planning for that. But what if we're all looking at the scoreboard, and the scoreboard is clear, it's like 40-3, right? We know who the winner is. But they turn the lights off in the stadium, and the next morning you wake up and you go, yeah, I got my Super Bowl shirt. I got my jersey. My favorite team won. Yay! And then about noon you hear, oh, no. The scoreboard was wrong. No, it's not that team. Wait, but I already got the shirt. Doesn't matter. Take it back. Get the other one. The other team actually won. See, that agility, that market agility, that ability to decide on a dime, to change your mind at a whim whenever you choose to. It never just stops with you. As a leader, you've got to have some strategies to say, do we have some principles? As a firefighter, we know you stay in the black. It's better to chase the fire than to face it head on, unless you have to get in the way of the fire in order to save lives. Otherwise, you chase it from behind. You get in the black, you follow the fire, you cut it down as fast as you can. You cut some brake lines way downstream so that it can't go any further. But you don't get right in the middle of it if you don't have to. You're just putting too many lives and too much value at risk. That's a principle. Now, if the wind changes and where it's been burning, it turns around and comes back because it hadn't burned everything and it wants some more, get out of the way. Your plan may be to attack it from behind, but when the wind changes, your plan changes. We get that. That's a principle of operation. We know that will always be the case. If you're in law enforcement and you're going to serve a warrant, or you're going to arrest somebody, you're going to pull somebody over, there's a process. There are principles. There's a way of going through this. We know this. So that when something changes in the field, the plan changes already, but the new plan is already decided on. Everybody's already aware of it. We already know what it is. If you're the kind of leader that instead makes whimsical, fickle, 12-year-old girl type changes for your team at the last minute, with no plan, with no principled decision making, with no core values, with no predetermined strategy then what you're doing is creating this emotional milkshake in your team. Their hormones are all jacked up. And I don't care if we're talking about 15-year-old girls or 35-year-old women or 60-year-old men. The biochemical reaction to an emotional shift, that anger, that frustration, that disappointment, all of it swirling around together is not compatible with good leadership. If you forget the terms of your relationship, just remember Maya Angelou. People will very quickly forget what you said. They will even forget what you did. They will never forget how you made them feel. So if your words are unkind, if the things that you do are unplanned, if your execution of agility makes you look like a hero because you were right there, right on time, and yet you have emotionally destroyed everybody on your team to pull it off, you're not a hero. You're about to lose your team. And if you wonder why they're dropping like flies and you have to retrain them as fast as you can find them, it might be because of the way you treat them. Your agility is their whiplash, and there's a lot more to that than a change of direction. And as a leader, you should know that. And if you don't have a strategy for that, now's a good time to start. And if you need some help with that, I'm a certified leadership coach. I'd be glad to help you. You can find me at jlorennorris.com. But really what I focus on is helping leaders tell better stories better. And having a plan, having an executable strategy, having a list of what ifs, that's a much better story than I keep having to rehire my team. I cannot figure out why people can't just keep up with me. There's a reason for that, my friend. And it's called a failure of leadership because you call it agility and they call it whiplash. And I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.
Thank you.